It's the Daily Dog.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. I am really excited that you're hanging out with me today. So, over the last several months, our main mode of operation here over at the Daily Doug has been to look at these really tentpole big pieces of rock music, of progressive music, metal music over the last 4 or 5 decades and kind of get caught up with what I have missed. And I have very much enjoyed the journey, and the journey continues. But along the way, I have been neglecting some of the real tentpole pieces and songs that have been important to me for the past few decades. And I find myself wanting to share those with you as well. So this episode is one of those. And it is not a very complicated piece at all. In fact, it is a very simple little piece, but it comes from one of my favorite musical artists of all time, Jackson Browne. So you may know that I am a choral music composer by trade. I very much enjoy writing texted music, and I have always been interested in language. I've been fascinated by language. You know, we've got 26 characters in the English alphabet, and we can arrange them and into words, speak them, write them, share them on social media, whatever you want to do. But it implies meaning. It's a way for us to try to impart meaning or what we've learned to our life experiences and communicate that to another person. It's very powerful. And when it is done well, it can be extremely, extremely moving. I'm very much drawn to text, especially in music, because it combines this meaning of language and the meaning of the musical sounds themselves. And I think it elevates our ability to communicate with each other and reach each other on an emotional level. So a little over a month ago, our grandmother passed away. My grandmother passed away. And when I was with some family, my brother and my uncle were like, you know, you need some Jackson Browne on the channel. And I'm like, it's time. It really is time. And so today, I've been trying to figure out which Jackson Browne tune to start with. It's not easy because he has a plethora of really fantastic tunes. But this is one that I very much love, and I want to share it with you. The song is called Sky, Blue, and Black. This is a song that is from Jackson's I'm Alive album, his 10th album that was released in 1993. But for this episode, I am going to his version from the album Solo Acoustic Volume 2, which was released in 2008. This is an album, he has a couple of these acoustic albums where he tours and it's just him on stage, and it's marvelous. I've seen him do that live a couple of times. It's a wonderful evening of music. This was recorded at various locations in the United States and Europe in the years leading up to this album's release. I found a quote that Jackson gave around the release of this. He says, I was trying to write something in the vein of Van Morrison's cascading cadences and images. I wrote the first part and tried to answer the questions it raised later on in the piece. It wasn't until I knew more about what was going on in my life that I completed it. And so this is a piece that has some people have tried to look into his own relationships, because this is a song about love, about relationships between people at its core. And he says it's a drag to even imagine that people are thinking about that relationship or one of his relationships instead of their own lives. He says, I think that if a song is any good, eventually it will turn out to be about the life of the listener and not about the life of the writer. Anyway, that's my hope. That's what I think Jackson's, one of his real strengths is. He, as in the true folk tradition, in the true storyteller tradition, he comes up with words and lyrics and just areas to explore that are universal to us. We can see ourselves in his writing, and it's really powerful. So, y'all, this is if you haven't heard this, just sit back and let it wash over you. It's really wonderful. So let's take a listen to the acoustic version of Sky Blue and Black by Jackson Browne. Here we go. Got those upper neighbors to each of these chords starting off. He's in B flat. 6th chord, 1 chord to the 6th chord, to the 4 chord, to the 5 chord. Just a basic progression that sets this up.
And they're calling out to one another, the lovers up and down the strand. And the sound of the waves and the cries of the seagulls circling the sand. And the fragments of the songs carried down the wind from some radio. And the murmuring of the city in the distance, ominous and low. I hear the sound of a world where we play. And the far too simple beauty of the promises we made. If you ever need holding, call my name and I'll be there. If you ever need holding and no holding back, I'll see you through sky blue and black.
All right, let's stop for a second. What is going on in the first half of this song? He is describing places, normal, everyday occurrences or things that we experience where love has been noticed or experienced. He starts off in the calling out to one another of the lovers up and down the strand. Okay, we can picture that. It's like, hey, in the sound of the waves and the cries of the seagulls circling the sand. We're noticing all of these things. And the fragments of the songs carried down the wind from some radio, in the murmuring of the city in the distance, ominous and low. Normal, everyday things that we all experience on some level or another. Then he goes into talking about the past tense, describing what once was. He says, I hear the sound of the world where we played, and the far too simple beauty of the promises we made. And then it gets to a little bit of a pre-chorus or a chorus leading up to the title of the piece. If you ever need holding, call my name and I'll be there. If you ever need holding and no holding back, I will see you through sky blue and black. It's a gesture of friendship amid the changing or breaking of a deeper relationship. And it just touches me, but check out where it goes. Let's keep rolling. 1 to 6. It's an F over the E flat chord. It's a ninth of that chord. Just
where the
gives it a
touch of
little
the lover ends and the soul of a friend begins.
largeness.
There's a need to be separate and a need to be one, and a struggle neither win.
My favorite line in the piece.
Well, you gave me the world I was in a place I could make a stand. I could never see how you doubted me when I let go of your hand. Yeah, and I was much younger then, and I must have thought that I would know if things were gonna end. And the heavens were rolling like a wheel on a track, and our sky was unfolding, and it'll never fall back. Sky.
This language is so smart and just deeper than all of us. Check this out. So where the touch of the lover ends and the soul of the friend begins, there's a need to be separate and a need to be one. And a struggle, neither wins. That's my favorite line from that. I'll talk about it a little bit more as we get through. We're going to keep on going. I love how he's just by himself and he can in real time change the intensity of the lyric that he's giving and how he's playing.
If I thought that you wanted me to, or put aside what was true or untrue, if I'd known that's what you needed,
If I would have known,
what you needed,
I would have done all that.
But the moment has passed by me now, to have put away my pride and just come through for you somehow. If you ever
And then a
need
reaffirmation.
Holden,
If you ever need Holden, call my name.
call my name and I'll be there. If you ever need Holden and no holding back, I'll see you through. You're the color of the sky reflected in each storefront window pane.
Now he's looking to
You're
the
the
future
whispering and the sighing of my tires and the
and what he's
rain.
learned from this relationship.
You're the hidden cost and the thing that's lost in everything I do. Yeah, and I'll never stop looking for you.
I'll never stop looking for
In
you.
the sunlight and the shadows,
sunlight and the
and
shadows, and the faces on the avenue. It's amazing. It's an amazing lyric. Because
That's the way love is.
that's the way love is.
That's the way love is.
Even with relationships that have
That's the way love
been
is.
and gone away. If it was love,
blue
that's the way it
and
is.
black.
in B flat. I also like listening to this one in the car. I can just sing along to it. I put it on repeat and just sing along to it a few times.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jackson. One of my all-time favorites. I have seen Jackson Browne in concert probably 8 or 9 times in my lifetime. One of the most often times I've ever seen a single musician live in concert. For me, y'all, this is about as perfect as a song lyric can be. It's so powerful. It encapsulates this emotion of losing that one person in your life that was meant to be your person, and you both planned on being each other's person, you know, and now something has happened and you realize you can't fix it anymore. It is beyond repair, and darn, you're just sad about it. You mourn it, but you're not really bitter or angry anymore about it. You're just sorrowful about this really important relationship in your life being over, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you just realize that, and you have to move on. It lifts up this paradox. That's why that one line was so interesting to me. It lifts up this paradox of the human condition, where we have this need to be free. We have this desire to be free and be autonomous, but we also have this aching desire to be loved, or to have love in our lives. And he's reminding us that those two things can never each be at 100% and still both be really active and meaningful in our lives. If we want love in our lives, we need to be somewhat vulnerable and give up a little bit of that autonomy. Otherwise, the love can't really work, can it? Yeah, what was that one lyric there? There's a need to be separate and a need to be one, and a struggle neither wins. It's just wonderful. You know, Sky Blue and Black, the title itself can be a metaphor. I think, and most people think of it that way. I think that's the most immediate way to think about it. We think black and blue. Oh, but it's different. It's blue and black. And we think physical or emotional bruises from our relationships that we've gone through. But I also think that it can be just a simple truism. Our sky is all around us. We all have that in common. And the sky is sometimes blue, and sometimes the sky is black. And we all need to just live in that and understand the range of what it means to be human in our emotions and in what we do and what we say and how we communicate with each other and how we learn and become better people, become fuller versions of ourselves. I'm almost reminded of Dream Theater. That's a weird segue, isn't it? When I listen to Octavarium, the destination is the journey, right? They were reflecting on things that they had learned in their past, and at the end, the conclusion is that we are the product of our own experiences on any given day. Every new day, we are the product of our experiences, including the day before. So let's make it a good one, y'all. And I think what Jackson is reminding us to do is to not stop loving, to not be jaded against having love in our life, even if it has meant pain or some sort of trauma in our past. That helps inform who we are now, and to try to wield that and internalize it as much as we can, and reflect our conclusions and our learning and our wisdom to the world around us. That's why I love the song so much. It is such a deep, deep song. It's about love, it's about relationships, but it's about the human condition. It's about us. And for my money, nobody's better at it than Jackson. From a lyrical point of view, and musically, his voice is so longing, it's so pure, and the way that he performs, he's such a great musician, and that he can really deliver these lyrics in a way that just seeps right into our soul. At least he does that for me, and I wanted to share that with all of you today. It's a little bit of a simpler song musically, but you know, music doesn't have to be complicated to have value, right? It's taken me a while to really get that, because for a while as a composer, I thought, well, I need to reinvent the wheel if what I'm saying musically is going to be different than everybody else, because I am my own person, right? And sometimes just a good old 4-chord progression is the right vehicle, the correct vehicle to communicate wisdom like Jackson has communicated to us today. Wonderful stuff, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed this little lyrical trip into Jackson Browne, and I hope to put more of Jackson's music on the channel. I very much enjoy his music. I hope that you enjoyed this one as well, and we will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.